Okay, so it is a time. It is 6:08 maybe or 6:06 on Monday, January 14th. And this is the Curriculum Instruction Committee meeting for January. Is it the 14th? Maybe. Julia Olafson. We have a new committee member, Mr. Mike Wolf. Mr. Miller, Dr. Sincere Pino, Mrs. Weber, Mrs. Hefter, Mrs. Rexroad, Shelley. I'm so sorry. I could be here like 12 years and I still won't get it right. And Mr. Fleming, yes? Flanagan. Fleming is the pile of books that's sitting right there. We have a short meeting, so I'm going to give it over to Dr. Sincere Pino to start with the K-12 math update.
Sure. So we do have a super short meeting, but we thought we would update everybody where we are. As of now, K-2 is almost done. They spent a day with me last week. They're about half to three-quarters done. So Melanie's going to give them some time during Friday afternoons in service to finish up the work they started. The bottom line to that was that K-2 is a little less linear than everything else, so it was kind of trying to put a square peg in a round hole with EdInsight. So just because of how we teach concepts in kindergarten, it kind of bounces from place to place. So where it was really linear in other grade levels, it's not. So it took them a little longer. So we're going to give them some time Friday at in-service to finish that work up. And at that point, K to Algebra 1 will be done and in EdInsight. They're going to get some time, all of them, on Fridays in service to add some details in those pieces and parts. But at this point, that is done. And for the most part, it will also then serve as a curriculum map, so that they put them in as lessons. So if you look at it now, it shows up as lessons 1 to like 140. Kindergarten, it's like 1 to 160. So 180 days, so kind of factoring in that there are some days where there's a fire drill or there's an assembly or something just happens. So we kind of build ourselves that buffer. And then we did, for tested grades, we did fewer days to ensure that content was taught prior to assessment. And then we'll come back around to like those lessons that aren't eligible content. So those will show up kind of as later lessons in the curriculum, but they're now all, for math at least, in there and accessible to teachers, and the teachers who wrote it have the dubious status of being super users. Still waiting for an answer from EdInsight on what happens if somebody hits delete instead of save. They're working on that. Can't hit refresh, it doesn't come back. So, but I also don't think that delete is probably really a permanent. So we accidentally deleted a kindergarten unit, but I think it's probably still out there in cyberspace. And if it's not, I'll come back and put it back. So that's there. We had talked about having the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics come and do some work on the in-service day. We were able to secure them for 6 till 8, but they weren't able to get anybody for K to 5 from their ranks to come. So we're going to sort of table that until some later, at this point it's probably next year or summertime. Mm-hmm. The other piece in that we didn't talk about, but in that we also took a group of K to 5 teachers to the IU for a guided math workshop, which was excellent actually. And the person that ran that workshop is willing to come back and meet with all of our K to 5 teachers, but he was also already spoken for on the 18th. So we'll pull him back around too. But the teachers that went are going to do some cross-training back to their colleagues on Friday as well.
Okay. Is Friday's a half day and then, or?
It's a full day in service day.
Oh, really? It's helpful when you look at the calendar at this.
Yeah, so you have your children for 4 days.
I don't have to care. My kids are in high school. They can do what they want.
So, yeah, Friday's a full day in service day. Social studies, you guys got the budget last week.
Yeah, I actually
Sorry,
wanted
go
to.
ahead.
I wanted to ask Mrs. Hefter. Have you heard any feedback about how the process for K-2 went from the math teachers? What's finished so far, anyway?
I heard that they got about 3/4 done.
Okay.
Still have to meet on the in-service day, but I didn't hear back what they exactly worked on.
Okay, no, that's fine. I was just curious if
They found in their process, everybody found in their process that starting on paper seemed to be easier.
Okay.
Kind of mapping it out on paper seemed to, rather than trying to take what was already on paper and put it into the system, it seemed for them, most people, to kind of make sense. So they sat and they kind of put the pieces together on paper as a group.
Is my understanding correct that the biggest concern is from the scores that we saw from 3rd to 4th, or is it 4th to 5th?
I think
Both.
I mean,
Okay.
So what we've
I didn't know. Did we have some teachers that teach at the intermediate center involved in
they
doing
did
the
3 to
writing
5.
of the curriculum too?
They did 3 to 5.
No, I know, but was there any discussion between teachers in 2nd grade to 3rd grade for that transition at this point? Okay.
No.
Okay, not
The
yet.
objective really was get it in. The system.
Understand, and so that's a future.
Yeah, I mean, they had some good conversations among themselves,
Got it.
which was interesting, you know.
Okay.
And the language arts analogy to that always is that we talk every year about how come we always teach nouns. Because we teach nouns from the time they're 5, and then we teach it again in 1st grade, and kids sit there and go, "I don't know what a noun is." And you know they know what a noun is. And then we do it again in 2nd grade. So those kinds of conversations we can continue to have about, you know, how often do we need to do this, and when can we move on, and when do we need to teach tools and those kinds of things. So next step. So first step was get it accessible. So it's at least now accessible
Okay.
to everybody.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, Ms. Weber.
So there's been a lot of conversation. Melanie and I have spent some time already, and we're working on transition meetings from every different level, from special ed to make sure that's a smooth transition to curricular. We're trying to determine times where our 2nd grade teachers and our 3rd grade teachers, unfortunately with our calendar, we have no more in-service time after Friday.
Right.
So we got to get everybody, you know, on the same page. And with PSSAs coming up, my teachers are using the time to look between now and PSSAs of what are we covering, what's the scope, what's the time frame, how are we using every moment to make sure we're on track. And with that, but Melanie and I, Mrs. Hefter and I have been having a conversation about what do we need to do, how do we need to impact K through 2. And then Mrs. Rexford and I met last week. Yeah, it was last week, it wasn't this week. Last week to talk about the transition from 5 to 6.
Awesome.
We were able to, when we were together, 3, 4, and 5, and I was fortunate enough to be able to spend the day with my teachers when they wrote the curriculum. There was a lot of questions that they started developing for 2nd grade about, like, when do they do this? Is this covered? And is that covered? And we really decided that we need to spend some more intensive time on that, and the same is true for even just general expectations. And that's part of what we're covering on Friday, is about the expectations of the 6th grade teachers. Mrs. Rexford did a great job sharing with me about how that's formatted, function time, and things along that line, so that we could have that conversation. So when they're planning and setting expectations, it will be a smoother transition. And they've got some great ideas at the middle school of how to transition, not only academically but socially and emotionally. And we're really, these ladies have been fantastic to me, because I'm like, I just don't know what that looks like. Please help. And they've been great in helping that. And our staffs, I think, are feeling the connection and the willingness to connect with one another of like, wait, this is going on. Like even special ed, I'm having, like our emotional support teacher is going to go down and into the primary center to get to know some of the students before they transition up. And Jenny, some of her teachers are going to come down and meet the 5th grade so that there's a smooth transition. So we're really doing a ton more of that because we know they don't just drop out of the sky. And so, you know, curriculum is one aspect of it that we need to look at and where we are, but there's a lot of curriculum instruction and just management and organization that is different between one of our buildings and the next. So we're really working on making it a smoother transition on every level. Shelley's been super supportive as well throughout trying to build the bridges and make it so that their experience isn't completely different in each building.
And you know, I know my question was a little more targeted toward the curriculum and specifically math, but I am happy to know that, you know, I know we all know it's a known issue, that transition, and you're never going to get enough time ever, you know, no matter where we are, what school district we're in. But you know, just so we're making more time for it, that when you can, that's good.
The other answer is it's now there.
Right.
I don't have to go to my second grade colleague and say, give me a copy of your, no.
Yeah.
I can just click on second grade and I can now see it. So really a teacher at any grade level could see what comes before, what comes after.
Right.
It's all in one spot.
Right.
Eventually it will all be in one spot.
Okay. Yeah. And any questions about math at the moment? Okay. All right. Social studies.
Social studies was just informational. You guys have the
Right.
the budget. Sorry, word recall today. The social studies as a curriculum area got set aside at one point for lots of reasons historically, and that I just have sort of heard through the grapevine. So, but it got set aside, so it needs to be finished. So the plan next year is to kind of take a look at all of it, K to 12.
And my understanding is that a lot of the book budget for
Yes.
next year is for
So
social studies.
there's-
That's my understanding.
Yeah, budget money to pay teachers. There's budget
Yeah.
for new materials.
Right, for curriculum writing and for the books. Okay.
So, and we'll have to, for something like that, we'll have to, where we're just reviewing kind of math and making sure we can pull kind of teachers for a day and pretty much
Right.
get a handle on it. Social studies will be a different animal because it does needs to be read.
And now for a calisthenics portion of the evening.
Now, I usually
I'm just happy that the building's being used.
So that's social studies is on the docket for next school year.
Right.
So that shows up in the budget, but just wanted you guys to know that was there.
All right.
Friday, we have an in-service day, which is an all-day in-service day.
I just heard about it.
So the plan for Friday, Dr. Cooper has requested time in each building. So he didn't want everybody as a giant pole. He wanted them in quarters.
Yeah.
So he's requested time in each building. So he's going to spend 30 minutes in each building just saying,
Howdy.
hello, this is who I am, face with a name kind of thing.
All right.
We will be doing, if you think back to July or August, we brought up the wellness grant we were paying for participation in the social emotional learning connection cohort out of the Chester County IU. So that's been work that's ongoing. So we're going to do a little bit of an update with that with teachers across the board. And then really, the principals have the time in their buildings to do with their staffs what they need to do. So you've heard some of the plans that are going on there. With that, the remainder of that time, the counselors are, no, the nurses are meeting with Mr. Harley in the afternoon, and the SEL teachers, the teachers that are participating as kind of that core group, are going to come together. There was a little bit of a change in the leadership on the other end. The person who was our liaison back to the connection group started his own business and is no longer a part of that group, and so there was a transition in our leadership. So we requested some time to sit down with them and with our group and kind of work through the action planning piece, because we've been missing that connection. So Friday was a nice opportunity to do that. Our kids have been participating in that. We have three high school students, who are participating in that. They were there last month with high school students from Radnor and Avongrove and Springford, and they had a separate breakout session.
And that was at the IU?
It was at Chester County.
Oh, Chester County IU.
So it's school districts from across the area. So we are the only Berks County school district, but Springford is participating, so they're kind of close. Radnor, Avongrove, who else is there? Maybe one of the charter schools.
Okay.
jump in on
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Can you add it as an agenda item maybe next month, so the committee or the team that's going has an opportunity to present and share? Because we're meeting with Tom Stecker on Friday to get some direction to keep this moving, because in the past, things kind of stop.
Yeah.
So that's, Tracy Huddleston and I were meeting with Aaron Gershon this evening before this meeting, because he's going to be on the wellness committee, and just kind of giving him an update. So if you could add us to this agenda item, I'll go back to that committee and ask them to put together a presentation.
And you'll just let them know when it is and tell them they're invited?
You just tell me what date.
I will. It's
the second Monday of February.
it's in the agenda for the cow, so I was just looking. Thank you. It's the 11th.
Time, what?
That's great. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, on that night.
Whatever. Yeah.
So they were working with Tom on that. The kids went, they met, they shared. What's been very interesting to me is that the kids in every district, regardless, and districts look really different, obviously, socioeconomically, experientially for kids, but kids are having really common experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting. And they presented, I was just sharing with Tracy that I videotaped their presentations. So they're like 12 minutes of raw and unedited kid talk right now, so they need a little bit of tightening up. But they really did share some pretty interesting experiences. Our middle school students come back in March, I think.
Awesome.
So it's a very global effort, which is nice. So definitely we need to.
It's a neat thing for us to get to be involved with. I don't know how we got our names put in the hat, being in Berks County.
Through the grant.
Oh, excellent.
$1,000.
Okay, no, that's great. It's just neat to get our kids out of the Berks County bubble for a little while.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
parents
nice.
are coming next month. We've got a group of folks who are coming as parent representatives.
Awesome.
So it's been really global, which is nice. But it is important that we continue the conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do the update on Friday a little bit, and then we can certainly bring it here in February as well.
Excellent.
My main job is to give Dr. Cooper a buffer.
Yeah.
To travel from point A to point B.
Right.
But, so we're doing that. The IU is sponsoring their annual art show, and then their annual Please Change the Pictures in Our Boardroom.
Yes.
So we do have 2 students who will be participating in those. I'm not sure whose is whose, to be honest. I think Jessica's is going in the Please Decorate Our Boardroom for a year. So if you're over at the IU, her artwork will be there, and it's really cool, actually. And then Julia, the theme for the artwork at the IU this year was describe a landscape that describes your district. And she submitted a beautiful photograph of a lighthouse overlooking a harbor or something, which was a beautiful landscape, but the IU argued that it didn't really represent it.
We are a shining beacon to the community.
Trying to figure out how it could be. So
She's I know Julia. She's extremely talented.
it was
yeah.
a gorgeous piece
Yeah.
of photography. So Nick Jacobs is working with Julia to find something
Something in her portfolio, a little
that
bit
seems
more.
to fit the IU's description a little.
Got it.
closer.
Got it.
I was with Beacon on the Hill. So those ladies' artwork will be there. So
Excellent.
if you happen to be at the IU, check it out.
They're both seniors this year?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
So, and they do an award ceremony for the kids. They recognize them at
Right.
the board meeting. So both girls are attending and have been invited, which was why it was important to find another piece from Jessica's,
Right.
from Julia's portfolio to display because she's not.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
All right.
This point.
Open it up to the floor. Anybody have anything that we want to talk about next month? Or now? I'll take now. And public comment. All right, if we're good, other than that one ad for next month to have and except for what you're about to say, and adding the group of kids to come, whoever wants to come and present what they've learned and shared next month. Anything else? All right, we're gonna close out the meeting at whatever time it happens to be. 6:25. Thanks, everybody.